All right, hey guys, yeah, okay, so I want you to dump the eighth notes over here, and I want a big pile of rhythm over here. Okay, so that truck there, I want you to back it up here slowly. Yeah, we're gonna need a ton of flashy notes, especially the really high notes. And if that cement mixer, yeah, can you back that up? Because that's gonna help us play those notes for a long time. If you got any circular breathing in there, bring that over too. People love it. It's gonna make this solo killer. All right. Hi friends, I'm the saxophone oracle. So this channel, I wanted to start this channel. I got the idea for this at least 10 years ago, and it took me a good 10 years to get my act together. I think it's mostly to build up the confidence to start a YouTube channel. Who's gonna want to listen to this guy talk about saxophone and improvisation? But anyway, after 10 years, I got it together. But when I initially had the idea, I floated some questions out there to people I knew, to students, what kind of things would you like me to talk about? And one of the first questions I got was how to construct a jazz solo. What do you think about when you're making a solo, and how do you build a good jazz solo? And well, I've been thinking about that question probably for a good 10 years. And I don't have an answer for it. There's no one size fits all answer for it. So I thought I'd talk this week about at least how I approach soloing and what I'm thinking about, because it's a really big open-ended question, and it depends on so many things. It depends on the context. How do you build a solo? Say we're playing in a jazz quartet, or what if you're taking a solo in a big band, or you're playing in a funk band, or maybe you're accompanying a jazz vocalist, or maybe you're playing free music, or whatever it is. So the context is a huge deal, and also your level of musicianship, your level of experience, your level of confidence, all these things play into it. And so the bar is going to change of the things you think about when you're playing, or the criteria that you're going to meet in order for you to be content or think that it's a good solo. So yeah, it's a big question. It depends on so many factors. But I would say, generally speaking, at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is communicate as we would in writing or in speaking. We want it to be clear, we want it to be concise, and we want it to be convincing. We want to be articulate with our solos. So that's the global picture. How do we be clear, concise, articulate, right? No one likes a solo that doesn't go anywhere, that's meandering, or and there has to be a certain amount of logic to it, right? You don't want to come out, swinging like Mike Tyson, and then where do you go from there, right? If you're coming out at level 10, so there's certain principles, and in jazz education they talk about certain things, like, well, to build a solo you want to start with a simple idea, and maybe develop it, and eventually you're going to want to get. We're going to use things like dynamics. We're going to play louder. We're going to add more notes to create interest. We're going to play higher. We're going to hold notes. There's all these kind of things we can do. We can put harmonic tension. There's chord substitutions. There's so many things we can do. But I think overall, big picture, we kind of want to tell a story that has a beginning, a middle, that gets exciting, and then get out before we overdo it. And that's the goal. And again, the bar changes, right? So, when I was a kid or a student learning jazz, like sometimes for me, what was a successful solo, had nothing to do with how musical it was. Like I'd be working on a blues, for example, and at the end of the blues, we have the 2-5-1 chord progression. And so for me, it might take me 8 choruses, but if I could land the lick that I was working on over that 2-5-1 section, and I got into it and I got out of it properly, and I managed to do it successfully, then like that was a great solo for me. or maybe it was just not getting lost in the form. If I could play 2 choruses of a tune and not mess up where the bridge was or something, then that might be a great success for me. Or if I could just remember all the chords, or if I could, if I could get through it without playing any bad notes. So, the bar changes, and then context-wise. So jazz quartet, sure, tell a story and go like that. If I'm playing with a singer, a jazz singer, then I might construct my solo basically restating the melody and embellishing it my own way. But, I'm not going to try and do anything flashy, for example, and overshadow the singer, what's going on. If I'm playing in a big band and it's a really high-paced thing, then yeah, I might come out guns blazing and just, with all the ferocity I have for the 1632 bars that are there. So there's context, and there's different ways. There's different ways to approach it. Like one great example. Because in jazz education we talk about, it's good to leave space and be rhythmically interesting and more notes and harmonically and build the whole curve, and that's great. But there's one way we can approach it. Like I think of the great John Coltrane. He has this blues, Mr. PC, and it's on the Giant Steps album. I'm sure many of you are familiar with it. But the way he approaches that is it's a blues. It's a 12-bar form, and kind of what he does is like he starts the chorus and he plays one idea and he does what he can with that idea over 12 bars. Then he comes to the next chorus, bang, new idea, right? So it's like idea, 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 idea until you're 10, 15 choruses later, then you're done. And that's like, that's a really interesting way of going about it. And in Coltrane's case, it's like, man, he never runs out of ideas. New idea, new idea, new idea, new idea. And, I've heard of, I've seen a clinic with a really great player once, and this player literally has a formula as to how he develops the solo. It's like the first chorus is simple ideas. Second chorus, it's like rhythmic interest. Third chorus, when we get to the third chorus, it's 16th notes, and by the end of the third chorus, we're playing up in the altissimo and the stratosphere. And then the fourth chorus, we're winding things down, and then you listen to a recording of this guy play, and it's like, oh yeah, he does have this formula he uses, So there's no right way, there's no wrong way. I guess it depends on, I don't know, it depends on so many things, Like I had a great opportunity to play for a weekend once with the legendary Jimmy Cobb, the drummer, and you could see, his approach. It was kind of like the train approach, It was like, and it made sense. Like he played a chorus, and then it would be marked, and he would have a new feel or a new element happening. And it was really interesting because it was like organized, and it was a way of building musical interest from soloist to soloist as the tune progressed. So anyway, there's no right way, there's no wrong way. There's many different approaches, and depending on your level, again, the bar is going to be different. And what's important is that you're satisfied with what you're doing, and that whatever your criteria is at the time, that you're trying to meet it consistently. All I can really speak to is to how I approach soloing and the things that I think about when I'm soloing, given my experience, my level that I'm at now. I can't speak for someone else, but I would say the main thing in my head, the overarching thing when I'm playing an improvised solo, is there's really only one main thing I'm concerned with, and that's flow. Is it constantly moving forward without hesitation, right? Is whatever I'm playing convincing without any hesitation whatsoever? That's one thing I really don't like when I hear myself or when I hear other players, they're playing along and then they hesitate and then it's kind of stumbling and then they pick up. So what I'm really concerned with is that everything is moving forward as it should, convincingly, with authority. And if I manage to do that, then I'm pretty much satisfied. So that's not to say that I can't have hiccups or I can't abandon an idea if it's going somewhere or I make a mistake, but it's like I don't want hesitancy when I'm playing a solo. I want everything with conviction and purpose. And that means, am I playing logical phrases? If I play a phrase, is the next phrase a logical answer or a logical development to it? Am I placing the time convincingly? That's really important to me is, how am I placing the time? Am I happy with that? And is everything moving forward with confidence and authority? I want it to be a complete authoritative statement. This is what I came to say. Thank you very much. I'm done. That's basically what goes through my head, and that's kind of how I construct it. I strive to play only what I hear. And so if I'm playing a phrase and I'm playing exactly what I hear as if I was going to sing it, and I answer that and I build it, then that's pretty much it. I don't think too much about, I need to play faster notes here or longer notes here. That kind of takes care of itself as you gather experience, how you build interest or things like that. And it's not to say I don't think about things. Like I may think in advance, I'm only going to play 2 choruses. And so that's going to dictate how I might play, or I'm only going to play 8 bars if I'm playing with a singer. That's going to dictate how I approach the solo and how I build it. And it's not to say I'm not thinking about chord changes or things like that. Like if I'm not super familiar with the tune, then maybe what's going to be present or front and center in my mind is the chord changes. What's the next chord? Or if it's a tune I always play on tenor and now I'm playing alto, it's like, what's the next transposition? What's the next transposition? And it's not that I abandon the rest of, the idea of it moving forward or not. It's just that certain things become more present. Or if the song is in an odd meter, I'm not really great at those. So if I'm playing in an odd meter, then I'm more focused on the rhythmic aspect of it. But if it's a tune I'm comfortable with and I'm just playing a solo, I'm not thinking about building it so much. Does it have drive? Is it moving forward convincingly with authority? No stammering, just forward motion, constant, perpetual forward motion. I'm the saxophone oracle. That's what I wanted to talk about this week. A little bit about how to construct a solo or the philosophy behind constructing a solo. So there's no right way or wrong way. A lot of it depends on context, musical context. A lot of it depends on our skill level, etc. But I'd say overall, we want, it's as if we were writing an academic paper or we were writing a story. We want it concise, we want it to the point, we want it clear, and we want something of value. So it's as if we're telling any other story. Have an introduction, a development, and some sort of logical conclusion. And there's so many different ways we can go about getting there. I hope you found this video interesting and useful. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you have questions or comments, drop them below or send me an email. I'd love to address them in any future videos. Thank you as always for watching. I'm the Saxophone Oracle. Happy practicing. Have a good week. See you next Tuesday.